Is England a collection of 56 million individuals, or is it a single, unified story? For centuries, this nation has been the staging ground for one of the most profound philosophical battles in human history: the tension between radical individualism and the collective identity. It is a struggle that built empires, fueled revolutions, and today defines the very cracks in our social fabric. From the legends of the Magna Carta to the modern fallout of Brexit, we are dissecting the unresolved battle for England's soul, and why finding a balance is the only way to navigate the uncertainties of 2026. 1. The echoes of empire, roots of English duality. England's identity is built on a foundational contradiction. On one hand, the English tradition is the birthplace of negative liberty, the radical idea, codified in the Magna Carta, that the individual has rights that no king or state can infringe upon. This fostered a culture of the self-made man and the eccentric pioneer. Yet, simultaneously, England forged a global empire that required ultimate collective discipline and a commitment to the institutions of the state. The Industrial Revolution amplified this divide. It created the billionaire mill owner, the pinnacle of individual success, and the burgeoning worker movements that birthed the modern concept of collective bargaining. We are a nation that prides itself on going it alone, while historically relying on the strength of the many to maintain our global standing. 2. The Brexit Fault Line, a modern manifestation. In 2026, the dust is finally settling on Brexit, but the philosophical tremors remain. Brexit was the ultimate contemporary battleground for this duality. The narrative of taking back control was a masterclass in appealing to individualistic ideals. The sovereign nation as a sovereign individual, free from external collective constraints. Conversely, the warnings of economic disruption highlighted our collective vulnerability. This wasn't just a political vote, it was a psychological divorce. It revealed a nation's split between those who see safety in the parish, the local collective community, and those who see opportunity in global Britain, the unfettered individualistic trader. 3. Public services, the NHS and the societal strain. Nowhere is the tug-of-war more visible than in the National Health Service. The NHS is the crown jewel of English collectivism, a secular religion based on the principle of mutual care. However, as we move through 2026, the strain is reaching a breaking point. The tension arises between the collective mandate of free at the point of use and the rising demand for individual choice and private efficiency. When the state struggles to provide for the collective, the individualistic instinct is to opt out, leading to a fragmented system where access is determined by personal wealth rather than societal contribution. The debate over the NHS is, at its heart, a debate over whether we still believe in a common good that transcends the self. 4. Economic identity, the market versus the community. The English economy has long been a pendulum, swinging between the free market and the social contract. The neoliberal era prioritised deregulation and the pursuit of individual wealth, transforming London into a global financial hub, but often hollowing out the collective industrial heartlands. In 2026, we are seeing the consequences of this lopsided growth. While individual enterprise remains the engine of our innovation, there is a growing cry for community reinvestment, a recognition that wealth generated in the city means little if the local high street is dying. The post-pandemic recovery has forced a rare synthesis. Government intervention on a scale never seen in peacetime, proving that even the most ardent individualists require a collective safety net when the world stops turning. 5. The jurisprudence of the self, common law and the English mind. To go deeper, we must look at the English legal tradition of common law. Unlike the continental civil codes, which often prioritise the state's blueprint for society, English common law is built from the bottom up, case by case, individual by individual. This has baked a specific type of empiricism into the English soul. We tend to trust what we can see and touch in our immediate surroundings over abstract collective theories. This makes England famously resistant to grand ideologies. However, in a complex, tech-driven 2026, this common-sense individualism can lead to a lack of national strategy. We are excellent at defending the rights of the one, but we often struggle to articulate a vision for the many. 6. Digital fragmentation, the death of the shared square. As discussed in our analysis of the political empathy gap, the digital age has hypercharged English individualism into digital atomization. Algorithms don't care about national unity. They care about your specific individual preferences. This has eroded the shared square, the common cultural touchstones that once bound the English people together. When our information is micro-targeted, our collective identity dissolves into 1,000 competing subcultures. In 2026, we are losing the ability to agree on a collective reality, making the individual's personal truth the final authority, often at the expense of social cohesion. 7. The union in tension, the North-South philosophical divide. This battle isn't just internal to England, it is the primary friction point within the United Kingdom. In 2026, the relationship between London and Edinburgh has become a clash of two distinct social philosophies. Scotland has largely doubled down on a collectivist social contract, viewing the state as the primary vehicle for equity, communal care and public ownership. In contrast, the English political centre, regardless of party, tends to lean more heavily into liberal individualism and market-led solutions. This creates a philosophical border at Hadrian's Wall. When England debates the privatisation of services or individual tax breaks, it often alienates a Scottish identity built on the preservation of the collective whole. The struggle for the union is no longer just about flags or borders. It is a question of whether a collective-minded Scotland and an individual-oriented England can still find a shared British identity that accommodates both. 8. Forging a new narrative, the synthesis of 2026. The path forward for England is not the victory of one side over the other, but the forging of a new social contract. We are seeing the early signs of this in the rise of localism, a movement that seeks to empower the individual by strengthening the local collective. By decentralising power away from Westminster and back to the towns and counties, England can satisfy the individualistic urge for autonomy while rebuilding the collective bonds of the community. A new national narrative is emerging, one that acknowledges that individual ambition is most productive when it serves a resilient society. This is the English synthesis, the realisation that we are most free when we are most connected. Conclusion: the harmonious balance. England stands at a crossroads, but it is a position of strength, not weakness. The struggle between the individual and the collective is not a flaw to be fixed. It is the very engine of English creativity and resilience. We have seen how education is evolving to empower the sovereign learner, and how global crises like water scarcity demand a unified collective response. As we navigate the complexities of 2026, the question is no longer which side are you on, but how do we build a bridge between them? Can England thrive without a balance? Likely not. But in the search for that harmony, we may just find a version of ourselves that is both more free and more united than ever before. Stay informed, stay resilient, and let's build that future together.